Over 200 years ago, the area around Athlone on the River Shannon was the subject of a threatened invasion.
Information was on Sunday night received from France by a most respectable quarter who immediately communicated it to His Majesty's ministers, as it evidently tends to confirm the declaration made some days since in the House of Commons by Mr. York that the invasion may be expected every day and almost every hour.
Such was the belief in the possibility of Napoleonic invasion of Ireland that a series of 8 forts were built to guard the river crossing around Athlone. Only one of those forts remains, the farthest north by the Shannon, which was called the No. 1 Gun Battery. A determined local volunteer group, the Athlone No. 1 Gun Battery Heritage Group, has been getting work done on this site since 2015. The Archaeology in 2023 had revealed gun platforms 1 and 2, as well as a wall and a guardhouse, just as shown on the 1843 map that had been found by the group. After nearly 9 years of intermittent periods of work, in 2024, the last of the major archaeological digs to uncover the site is about to commence, and a group of interested parties have come together to discuss how best to utilise the latest small grant that might be used to finish the archaeology on the fort, the fortifying of the walls, and the possibility of beginning to prepare the site for public access sometime in the future.
What could be here? I know it's...
Okay, well then do we stick to
maybe
the wall
like a,
rather
yeah.
than the ground surface along?
That probably would have to be done by hand rather than...
So this is the year 2 in the interior of the gun battery site. So last year we were able to expose the 2 gun platforms, and this year we're hoping to expose the 3rd one.
And then there's a section here where there's very little wall face remaining, and what's there is leaning very much. It's been impacted by tree growth that was there in the past. So they're going to have to take that down to the lower course and rebuild it, but they'll be numbering the stones and going back. We've sourced local stone from Lee Carrow, which is a very good match and could possibly have been the original location for the stone that was quarried for use on this monument. So that's the plan for this year.
We're happy for the support we get from Westmeath County Council through the Heritage Officer. She has been very, very supportive of our endeavours here, and without the resources of Westmeath County Council, we would not be able to achieve what we got. We have a good team on board. We have an archaeologist, conservation architect, and a group of people then, stonemasons, etc., who can do all the work on site. So we have a good team there now together.
So I think we'll just come off the path at that point. So we'll expose the platform, okay, and about 500 metres or 5 miles the other side of the path.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what's revealed. It should match what we have on the historic plans for the site, and then to rebuild what's in need of attention of the upstanding walls, so that we get a good sense of how the monument did look.
And so the month-long work of exposing the last gun placement began as they cleared away the roots and tree stumps and exposed the last platform and wall.
I'm looking forward to revealing the 3rd platform, to carry out the metal detection to see if we can find any more small artefacts. So it's always very exciting to pick up these features and finds like that, you know. Because the tree roots grew around the other gun platforms, we really didn't have an idea of what the edges of the platform looked like, but we didn't have tree roots on this side, so what we see is a ramp up to the gun platform, which is great to have that because in the other sections there, the tree roots just wrapped around the stone. So we lost the ramp. So we have it here, which is great.
The ramp.
So this is the ramp. So ideally, you know, you would have had your cannon. It would have been on wheels. So you need to sort of bring it up to the platform.
As the stonemasons tackled the crumbling walls at the front of the platform, the next area to reveal was the possible extension of the back boundary wall, a painstaking and careful exposure with machine and by hand.
So you see the line of it there. So it survives quite well at this end, but then we only have the basal sort of fabric of it there. So we're going to try and get the eastern wall along there. So we have the top of it there, so we have to now clean it back by hand and try and get the line of it. But again, I think it's going to be very similar to that. It's just going to be the very basal.
I'm delighted to see the next phase of work taking place here on the site. It's the number 1 gun battery. It's synonymous with Athlone. It's the last remaining gun battery in the town, and it's something that was in complete dereliction for a long number of years.
So you see this sort of gravelly.
Yeah, that's our goal.
That's our goal. It's very likely the wall was robbed out like other sections up there, but we might get surviving sections. So
it is a historical site. It's a listed site, and it's something that's part of our heritage, and we need to kind of make it available for education purposes to the schools and to the local community, and indeed for visitors to the town as well.
So we'll follow along the way.
Few stones, let me put a little bit here.
Yeah, so we just take it very skim at a time.
It's a slow process. It's a very kind of the work that's involved. It's the expertise in kind of repairing the old historical walls as well. So people have their own kind of professional expertise on that. So, and it's costly. You're so correct on that, and that's why. But if we're really serious about kind of bringing such a site back to life for future generations, we need to put the money into it.
Just trying to find the edges and everything, just keep it.
Yeah, of course. Now Yvonne, a bit more shinier that one.
Oh, that's lovely. That's an Irish Army button there for a uniform. There's I and V written on it there, and they have your harp. Brilliant.
Happy days.
Thank you, Richie.
No bother.
It's a very, very historical, important feature, right? From an educational standpoint as well. This year we've been lucky enough to have school children here to explain the workings of the site, etc.
So these are opportunities for us to provide this particular site, bring it up to a standard where people can come back and see go back to Napoleon's era, you know what I mean, about the number 1 gun battery, the reason why it was built here in the first place. And to me, education is key. You know, so we have to kind of ingrain that in our students and try them come down visually to see this particular site rather than reading it in a textbook.
Continuing work on the back wall would uncover a strange square structure. It is not marked on the 1843 map, so that remains a mystery. Was it a privy or a possible small ammunition store? So far, we do not know what it is.
So the wall, the big block wall, it peters out, and when you get to here, it's been robbed out, so the stone has been taken out and repurposed for something else. So what I'm uncovering is the construction cut, so the cut that they would have put into the ground to then lay the stone.
As the stonemasons tackled the old wall under attack from nature over centuries that has pushed and attacked the structure, the platform and the back wall seem to have been completed. So as the period of work draws to an end, The review team revisit the work and see and hear what has been found.
Just wondering, was the bank was as you can see it?
It was, yeah. So what we have is we have the embrasures either side of that, so you see it better from the bank. So they were like a triangular embrasures out. So I think that's as it was, you know. And we have the same in the central area and then the third platform as well. So we've a really good read of that.
Symmetrical?
The two outer ones appear to be, and the middle one is smaller.
Okay.
So it's exactly as per the drawing, which was great. But and the embrasures as well.
And
so
the height of the support for the gun, how high was that?
So again, we have no indication of that, no archaeological indication. So again, in the likes of that, it's all about interpretation and trying to understand based on the evidence we have.
From a group point of view, what we have to do now is we have to relook at the original conservation and restoration plan and look at the headings under that and see where we go from today onwards. You will see here locations where there was the 3 12-pounders. So we have to ask ourselves the question, do we put those on the site, which is restoration? And then finally we have to look at 2 other elements. One would be accessibility and the safety features of the site. And then last but not least, how we present the site. I mean, this site is just one of 8 batteries in the town, but this could be, this is going to be the standalone one, and then you could have a battery walk where information boards, etc., display the data relating to the other 7 batteries. So that's where we are today.
People need to be able to see the platform, but they're stepped up there, whereas here, because we have the ramp on the other side, it's integrated. And you just slightly see it here around the edges, and then we have the wall of it coming back here. So it's about trying to show that. What we have now is we're just excavating out here to try and get the edge of the third embankment, so you can see it emerging.
So it's good to see progress and to see what the archaeology is showing up. Wasn't quite as predicted, so the tree roots have changed the ground levels and interfered, I suppose, with the subsurface remains, so that's kind of made it a bit harder to read. But it's good to see the masonry taking shape, and just to have discussion about how to finish things out, to try and give a true representation of what the site was like from what we know, from what remains here on site. So that's what we're trying to do, to try and conserve it and repair it, not to reconstruct it.
Did you determine what you had over there, the little...
So it's still a square structure. So we
didn't find any exciting finds in it?
No, we still, just buttons. We've got more buttons. And yesterday a nice stirrup, so it's got a sort of a swan shape neck to the rear there. And that would have inserted into the boot, the heel of the boot, for the soldiers on horses. I would imagine it's from the British Army time on the site, so that's a very good. And so we're getting our various pieces of bullets. They're the Lee Enfield bullets, so it seems to be a smaller, could have been a pistol bullet or something like that. So again, this is stuff that we'll have to do a bit of research on. And then we have our buttons, so they're quite corroded. And a very heavily corroded Irish Army one. It just shows they're probably the same date, but the difference in how it came out of the ground. And then it's always good to get something army green. So we have just a bit of a salt cellar there. So
Is that what that is?
I think it is. You just screw top on and, you know. And it's gorgeous glass. I think once we start looking at the finds, we can put a sort of a button typology together of you know, when the Irish Army was here and when the British military was here. So it's about writing up and report writing at the next stage. But I think beyond that, it is about presentation. It is about incorporating our findings with an interpretation of the site. So people can enjoy and understand and get a real good sense of what occurred here, you know.
We've come a long way in 3 years. The site is much clearer. The vegetation has been cleared back. We can see it. We've been able to do some repair and some level of presentation, and we'll be working towards that in the next phases.
We want to be able to come back like this and everything's in situ and ready for the next phase.
So maybe the earthen
yeah.
embankment piece around there, maybe that's something.
I think that needs to be planned ahead because, but for the reason is, how do you tie into it? How do we be sure that it stays there and doesn't come off? Or, you know, there's a. I think the more thought put into the presentation, you'll save money now by planning it.
So the painstaking work of uncovering the archaeology of the gun battery, the preservation of the walls, the discovery of finds that are evidence of soldiers and life down the years is largely finished. Now it is over to the volunteer No. 1 Gun Battery Heritage Group to plan and raise funds to cover the final phase of the work as this site gets ready to receive its public in the near future.
We have to look at an overall picture here. There is a plan in place to turn the whole this area into a linear park. So this could be a focal point of that linear park. There's also talk of some other developments relating to this linear park. So we have to take that on board. At this moment in time, it's a standalone feature. We're taking responsibility for maintaining it, etc., etc. But there'll come a time when we have to say, our work is done. We'll hand it over to someone else now. You know, so.
The community group are brilliant. I think they are. They will get the funding. They will put together a vision for the site, and I would love to come here and visit the site myself and see what they've done with it. Absolutely, yeah.